Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Byron from Byron Plays Everything, and this is Behind the Noise, where I take you behind the noise to see if you like it. First up, we have Weirdo by Jethro Tate and Craig Lucas. Now, usually when I do these metal covers, I upload the track to a website, and this allows me to separate the track so I'll get drums, vocals, etc. I then take the vocals and then put that on their own track in Ableton. And luckily, what this website does is it gives you the key and it also gives you the BPM. So I can then match that up in Ableton. And then once I've done that, I take each section and basically add a marker to it. So I know that this is where the verse starts, this is where the chorus starts, this is where whatever, right? And this is what the vocals usually sound like.
Let me off, I need a break. Was I put here by mistake?
Next up, once I've got the vocals sorted, I then grab the guitar. I tend to not have the rest of the song when I'm writing. I generally just play it by ear because I don't want to have the existing chords and progressions sort of cloud what I want to do. So then what I'd usually do is just try and find the chord progression and then work around that. So with this song, I decided to basically just start off with just guitars, and this is kind of what the guitars sound like. When it comes to the chorus section of the song, what I decided to then do was just play like big open chords, as opposed to what I did in the verse. Because in the verse, I'm doing sort of, I'm alternating between the low E, which is drop down to D, because I play it in drop D. So I alternate between that, and I'm sort of playing a melody, outlining what the chords should be. And because it's only 4 chords, what I then do is I'm actually playing the 4 chords throughout the chorus, and this is what the chorus sounds like just with guitars. So let's have a look at the bass. What I then did with the bass is, obviously I don't start initially when the song kicks in. I sort of come in halfway through, and there's this little lick that I play before it starts, right? This is what it sounds like. And that takes us up to the first chorus. Now, before we get to the second chorus, I want us to have a look at the drums. So this is what the drums sound like, and it's laid back in the beginning, but when the chorus hits, it explodes with the rest of the guitar and the rest of the instruments as well. what I want to highlight is initially when I started recordings, I would just have the drums and that is it. But I always struggled to get the kick and the snare to sort of peek through all the dense guitars, because when you have distorted guitars and you've got more than one and you've got two and four or sometimes even six, it's a struggle for the bass drum and the snare to peek through. So what I then did was I did basically the same thing on the snare and the kick. So I've got my main snare, my main kick. So I'll have another track with the same kick tuned slightly higher. Then what I'll do is I'll blend it in to the original kick. What this does, it allows the bass sort of fundamental, the low end, to still be there. But when you add the higher tuned kick, it sort of peeks through a lot better. Same thing with the snare. With the snare, however, I actually tune it up a lot higher, so it sort of rings out and it's got that cracking sound to it, along with sort of the bottom end of the snare. So with that sort of trick, I'm able to get the drums sounding a lot more fuller than I was before, and that basically goes throughout. Next, we move on to the second verse. With the second verse, what I decided to do is to have a galloping riff to go underneath what Craig Lucas is singing. I didn't want the same thing to happen between the first and the second verse, because obviously it's two different singers. So I sort of wanted to give each verse its own voice, so to speak. And this is what the guitars sound like. And then this is what the bass sounds like. So they sort of follow each other up until a certain point right at the end of the verse. So after the second chorus, there's these four big chords, and this goes into a down bridge, right, where it's just guitars. And this tone is slightly different to my main tone. Actually discovered it accidentally. I accidentally put two of the same plugins next to each other, and I like the sound, so I tweaked it a little bit, and that's what you hear. It sounds like this. Then, once that section is done, we come straight back in with the chorus again. But what I then did, I added in a lead line that goes underneath everything, right? And this lead line goes all the way to the end, and that sounds like this. So that's the lead line. This is what actually happens with the rhythm guitars underneath that lead line. and this is the bass. And with that, we're done. So, thank you very much for checking out the song. It really does take a lot of time and effort, so I do appreciate it. Even this video right now. And if you've managed to stick around right to the end, here's a fun fact for you. Michael Jackson once said, "Shika chicka." I'll leave you with that. Until next time.